Hello everyone. So today we will learn about making sentences using modal verb and accompanying uh, infinitive forms of the verbs, and we will see how the sentence structure looks like, and we will practice some examples. So as you know that for a simple sentence in German the verb is always at the second position, right? So the sentence structure wait yeah sentence structure is you have subject in the sentence, and then you have verb, which is main verb, and then you have information and then object, right? And then you have the main verb always at the second position, and you also conjugate the main verb according to the subject, right? So this is the simple sentence building in German, and this is like a simple sentence you can build. For example, we have the example: ich spiele gern cricket, right? And then, which means in this we have subject, we have the object, and then we have the verb, which is the main verb, and some extra information, right? So the sentence is ich spiele gern cricket. I like to play cricket, right? We have the verb spielen, which is conjugated according to the subject, and then we have the object, and this is the structure, right? And then you also have modal verbs, right? So for example, I can write this sentence using a modal verb, right? For example, I want to say I want to play cricket. Ich will cricket spielen, right? So ich will cricket spielen, and it means I want to play cricket. So in this sentence structure, you have subject, then you have object here, and then you have modal verb, and then you have main verb, right? Which defines what is the activity that is playing here, right? Now, so what are the rules in this one? So modal, now when you use the modal verbs, the modal verb is the second position always. The main verb goes at end, right? And then you conjugate the modal verb. This is being conjugated according to the subject ish, right? And then you have everything else in between information, right, with the object and main verb. So this is the structure. So if you have normal verb, then you have verb always at the second position, and that is conjugated ich spiele gern cricket. But when you use a modal verb, the modal verb comes to the second position, and the main verb goes at the end, and the modal verb is getting conjugated. So ich will cricket spielen. I want to play cricket, right? So now we will look at some example that how you can build a sentence using modal verbs, and then focus on conjugating them and making sure they are at the second position, right? So here we will build sentences, right? And which will have modal verbs as helping verb, plus you have the verbs in infinitive forms, right? And we will try to follow the structure. So dürfen du rauchen im Unterricht nicht, right? So now we have du. So du darfst nicht im Unterricht rauchen, right? So du darfst nicht im Unterricht rauchen. So now we have the modal verb at the second position, main verb at end, and then modal verb is conjugated depending upon the subject. Here do, so we have the st conjugated verb, and then everything else in the between, right? So this gives us the subject, modal verb at the second position, everything else, and then you have object, or here is the location, we have no object, or maybe you can say this is the object where you can not smoke, so rauchen means smoke, and then we have the main verb in the infinitive form at the end, right? So now you can try other examples also, and maybe post your answer in the comment section, or you can also compare with me, pause the video, and then you can check how you did, right? And try to make the sentence with modal verb and try to follow the structure. Okay, let's go. Second, leider ein Computer nicht können denken, right? So it will be ein Computer kann leider nicht denken, right? So again, we have can conjugated with computer, right? And then we have infinitive verb at the end and everything else in between. So this is the structure, and this second can at second position, right? Okay, moving on. In der Schweiz möchte studieren ich. Ich möchte in der Schweiz studieren, right? Fourth, am Wochenende wir wollen fahren nach Jaipur. So you can do am Wochenende wollen wir nach Jaipur fahren, right? So in this one, am Wochenende, this is position 1, and then wollen 2, verb at the second position, this is conjugated according to where, nach Jaipur, and then at end is our main verb, right? So that's how it is. And then you can also change, write it in a different way. For example, wir wollen am Wochenende nach Jaipur fahren. So that's also correct, no problem in that one. Number 5, in Indian mit 18 heiraten man dürfen, right? So you can say in Indian darf man mit 18 heiraten. Number 6, ein Hund sprechen nicht leider können, right? So ein Hund kann nicht, kann leider nicht sprechen, right? So we have the modal verb at the second position already conjugated, and then the main verb at the end, and then we have the subject at the starting, and then everything else, right? So that's how you build the sentences with modal verbs. So for example, I can give you here the rule. So if you have normal, then you normal sentence, you have subject, verb, main verb, which is being conjugated, and the object always at the second position and being conjugated, right? But when you have modal verb, the case is different. You have subject, then you have modal verb, then you have object, and then you have main verb at the end, right? And here modal verb always at the second position, and that is being conjugated. And then if you follow this rule with modal verb and other verb, then you can make a nice sentence structure. You can also make new sentences, put it in the comment, and then I can check it for you. If you have any doubts, you can also ask in the comments. I can check it for you and then we can discuss there. And if you have suggestion for any other concepts you want me to discuss, then I can make a video on it. Please suggest. And till then, bye.